So, Galen, we both watched the Universal Studios Direct.
Mm-hmm. Narrated by Papa Miyamoto.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is Sephiroth's favorite attraction?
Probably whatever Lakitu attraction is going to be in there.
Why the Lakitu?
He's got an unhealthy obsession with clouds.
Oh! Hello, my amusement park going goblins. Friends, thank you for joining us today on the Nintendo Everything Podcast, episode 109. I am Oni Dino, and with me is a dude who constantly gets cut in line, tiny Japanese people ducking under his arms to get ahead of him. It's Galen.
You know, it's not even a joke. It's like that actually happens.
Why don't you start off by telling a little quick story about that?
No, you know the story. We went to, I don't remember what province or park this was in
Shibuya.
celebration. Yeah, so we went to a Shibuya Park celebration, and there they had this little buffet, and we decided to go get food. And this is my first time in Japan, and I'm just sitting there trying to get food, and all of these little old Japanese ladies are literally like swinging themselves underneath my arms and like just trying to get ahead of me to grab this food from this place first.
And Galen is immensely polite, so he wasn't doing anything other than standing there for several minutes while people just went under and around him like he was a boulder.
Oh yeah, no, it was very eye-awakening.
Hey, guess what?
What?
So many people did the giveaway thingy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't remember, we did a tweet, retweet nonsense thing, and then I'm giving away a copy of Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light.
Nice, very nice.
So I'm doing that now. I put everything on a wheel, random picker wheel. .com or something, I don't know. It's ad-laden website.
Are you going to spin that wheel now?
Yes, I am.
Alrighty.
Okay, here we go. Clicking to spin the wheel. And the winner is at Carson_Hull. CARSON_HOLL. So,
congratulations!
Congratulations, you're the lucky winner. DM me on Twitter, and I will DM you the code back. Why are you interrupting me when I'm telling the winner what?
Because
what do you got to
say?
What?
I'm really excited. Go on.
Oh, thank you very much. Excuse me. Sorry. So, lovely winner, you can DM me on Twitter. I'll give you the code if you do not get back to me before next week. You got a week to get back to me. If you don't, I'm picking a new winner.
So they have until the end of the year.
No. Why would you say the wrong information immediately after I just said that?
I forgot how many episodes we have left.
Jesus Christ. And for those of you who are brand new, we are a weekly show. Episodes go live every Sunday. We're on all the podcast platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, and just pretty much everywhere. Search for us wherever you listen to podcasts. Please leave us a rating on like iTunes or something like that. That really helps the show grow. All that good stuff. It helps us to do more giveaways by helping the show grow. So very much appreciated. This was a big news-packed week, so we are going to go into our adventure log, but it's going to be an abridged adventure log. I got nothing to say.
Well, that's okay, because I've got plenty to say this week.
And then we have tons of news. We got the Sakurai video on Sephiroth. We got the Indie World presentation. There was also a Universal Studios Direct.
Which is weird to have a Universal Studio Direct, but...
It was weird on so many ways. Holy crap. Let's talk about the video game you've been playing, though, Galen. Let's start off.
All right.
Okay. Before we do, I believe you. My Twitter is @Oni_Dino. Galen, what is yours?
And you can believe that my Twitter is @Mobius087.
Galen, what you been playing?
I have been playing Cyberpunk 2077.
I can't wait to hear about it. There was also some news about CD Projekt in many facets this week, so we'll get into that. Before we get into all that, though,
All right, so I am going to address this in 3 different sections. We're going to talk about the good, we're going to talk about the bad, and the contra ugly. So, first things first, I do want to set up the preface that I am currently playing Cyberpunk 2077 on the PC. With that being said, I've got a rather powerful PC, so a lot of the bugs, frame rate drops, everything like that that people have been talking about, I haven't been really subjected to. So this is kind of a best case scenario review from myself.
Cool.
So I guess to lay the groundwork down, what is Cyberpunk 2077? This is an open world first person RPG. So think Elder Scrolls and games in a similar fashion.
Fallout especially comes to my mind. I've been watching Cliff, my partner, play it a little bit in the background, so yeah. I've seen little bits of it.
Mm-hmm. So you go on quests, you pick up various side quests from people, lots of exploration. This all takes place in a place called Night City, which is their fictional... I can't remember what the, real world, parabola? That's not the right word, is it? You know
Equivalent?
What I'm saying? Yeah, probably.
It looks kind of like LA to me.
Yeah,
I'm getting a very LA vibe.
So, first thing I want to talk about is the story, because if it's an RPG, it needs to have a good story to kind of captivate you. I think this game has absolutely fantastic storytelling. Story itself is kind of mediocre. I mean, that is really kind of to your own personal preference. A lot of modern day RPGs don't really blend with everybody. When they think of these kind of statistical mechanics, they think of classic, sword and shield, magic, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to give credit, though. The way that they are conveying these stories is phenomenal. In the very beginning, at least with the option that I chose for my starting area, you partner up with your main person, and he's going to be your partner for the first part of the game. Instead of having you do, tutorial missions with him and trying to garner some sort of, artificial connection, they actually, after that first initial meeting that you have with them, do a flash-forward sequence. And they showcase, all the elements of this relationship kind of blooming in almost an organic sense. And I thought it was really, really cool.
Okay, so you meet the person in real time, and then you have a flash forward to what it could be like?
Yeah, it's a montage. It's a montage of you going on missions with this person, hanging out in clubs afterwards, having tense situations with deals that are not necessarily going the right way.
Maybe kissing a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Depends on, what your background is, I guess. But no, it was a really smooth transition, and the little bits of storytelling that I have seen do an excellent job at conveying that organic emotion.
Mm-hmm.
The writing itself is a little... not necessarily my cup of tea. They talk with a little... I think my wife said it the best. It looks like somebody in high school who thinks they're writing edgy stuff.
Yeah. I haven't been paying attention enough to really get an opinion or really say much, but the only impression that I've really gotten is that it's a little bit juvenile.
Mm-hmm. And there are definitely elements of that in other aspects of how the game was designed, but I'll get into those more in a second. But no, points that it presents to you when it's conveying the story is very well done. So good job there. The other thing about the game is the world itself. Like, there is so much to explore in this area, and it also rewards you for that exploration with things that are more than just physical rewards. It's not like, oh, hey, you went down this alley, here's a new gun to have. There are moments and experiences that it rewards you with that I was actually really surprised by. One of my favorites was I was literally just walking down the street from point A to point B, trying to go to two completely different, unrelated side quests. And I passed by these three teen girls that were outside of some sort of club or something like that, and they were complaining about not having any more cigarettes. And it was this weird transition. I actually stopped and listened to the conversation that was being auto-generated. And the one girl was talking about, yeah, I got money from my mom, but she's been really weird lately. Like, she's been going out on benders, and she'll come home and sleep for like 2 days straight, and I don't really know what to do. And like, this is all in the terms of like what makes sense in the context of the world, but there was this like honest vulnerability that was being brought up by these characters that I did not expect to overhear. Like, if I had taken a different path or used like my fast travel option, I would have completely missed this opportunity. And it's moments like that which makes me wonder what else is in this place that I can discover.
Like a living, breathing world.
As they pitched it a couple of times, yeah.
Oh, did they say that?
They've said it a couple of times, like especially when they were first promoting it. So, but it's true. Like the world definitely has a vibrance to it that I appreciate. Also, this game does a fantastic job because it takes its roots from like a tabletop RPG kind of format.
It does?
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, it gives you a situation that it gives you a problem to solve, and then it says, hey, figure it out on your own. And it does that by, there's a bunch of different ways that you can approach the situation, and it lets you do those different ways.
So it's not just like, Bobby needs this item, go see Susie, and then there's a waypoint on your map, and then you go and see Susie. There's multiple ways?
Correct. Okay. I mean, it has that in the core concepts of it, but it's the specifics of how you go from point A to point B that it gives you that freedom. For example, there was a side mission that I came to where there was this guy you had to rescue from the street thugs. And he is in the basement of this dojo/gym area.
A do-gym, some may say.
A do-gym. And it says, hey, go ahead and free him and try to do it quietly. That's all it says. So I went up, I saw the guard at the front door. I went ahead and took him out. And then I kind of realized that I have no way of knowing what's behind that door. So I should probably investigate a little bit. So I ended up looking around the building. I saw like one window, didn't see anybody in there. And I'm like, this is still a little bit risky. I looked around the corner and saw that there was a street vendor, like a hot dog vendor or something selling stuff. So I jumped on top of his cart and then from there leapt across the wall over to the roof of the building and realized there were skylights that were up on the actual roof. So from there, I was able to look through the windows and able to like hack the cameras that were inside to get a viewpoint of basically the entire map on the inside.
That's fun.
And it just like any other game, it would have like held my hand and it's like, hey, you should go in quiet. Try going up on the roof. Or it didn't do any of that. It let me discover those kind of things on my own. And it rewarded me with saying, hey, this is a great way to do that. Go ahead and do that thing.
And you know what this is reminding me a bit of is like the Hitman games. Have you ever played any of those?
Yeah, I haven't played them, but I've seen them played, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, there's multiple different ways to take out your target. You can go in loud, you can go in stealthy, you can make it look like an accident. Same kind of philosophy here, too. My brother-in-law is also playing this game. He's playing it on the PS4 Pro, and he was talking about how you needed to sweet talk this guy in order to get into the secret area, but he had actually upgraded his character with these gorilla arms. So instead of talking to the guy to get the passcode, he literally just walked up to the door and pried it open with his hands.
Oh, that's cool.
Because he had that ability to it. And I just thought, I love the freedom that this game gives you. And it just all cycles back around to that concept of explore it on your own pace. So, now, good points being said, the game does have some flaws, obviously. As I mentioned before, the writing seems a little pretentious for some of the characters. The acting seems to be good, but like one of the first guys that I talked to was a street hustler who was giving me my first mission, and it was very much references that would only make sense of somebody who lived in the world. So I felt like a person who's going along going, oh, yeah, oh, no, that guy, yeah, he's a bad guy, I can tell by this context. I have nothing else to go off of, I'm just making assumptions here.
Okay.
It's just, there's a lot of that in there. There's a lot of, well, the Edo Corporation is, you know how they are, right? Bunch of thugs that are going to go ahead and leave you bleeding on the street. And it's like, you're saying these things, and I don't know why you're saying these things. Like, there's no other examples here.
They're telling you that bad, as opposed to like,
it's talk by reputation as opposed to talk by learned action. So, so this game is a little bit guilty of that. Also, mechanically, combat can take a little bit getting used to. I don't think it is being viewed as critically as some other people are talking about. I felt the combat was just fine, if not like a little bit slow paced. Once you get some more weapons and start to level up your character, you start to realize that the combat is in the intricacies of what you can do, especially with some of those high-class weapons that can like shoot around corners and shoot through walls and have tracking bullets and things like that. So
yeah, that sounds cool. Cliff
especially
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Especially if you don't want to go that route, you can go into like melee combat or have blade arms and other things like that, but those have to be unlocked over time.
Cliff got a gun that he told me was like the gun in Fifth Element, where you shoot the enemy once and then you aim completely behind you and start shooting,
and all the bullets turn around,
homing on the target that you started shooting at.
Yeah, and when you get to that point, it definitely, it feels rewarding and it feels special when you get to those and like discover these for the first time.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it takes a little bit of time to kind of like get to that point.
How does it feel to you as somebody who like plays Destiny? Like, how does it feel to you for the shooting? Going back between those two games.
See, and it's weird because Destiny and this game are two completely different beasts in a lot of sense.
But I mean, like, in terms of like how you can describe what the shooting feels like to you using Destiny as a comparative base.
I would say that Destiny is the better feeling shooter of the series.
Like more responsive, quicker, more accurate?
Definitely a little bit quicker, but also more precise. Whereas in this one, you can be a little lackadaisical with like how you're doing things. And this game does also have a couple of like bullet spongy moments where some of the enemies are a little bit like higher leveled than you. So you're sitting there and putting an entire clip of your machine gun into the guy's face and he's not like reacting to it.
Oh.
I feel like with a good shooter, you really need to feel the impact of the weapons and everything that you're using. Ubisoft's The Division actually had that problem too, and that's kind of the reason why I stopped playing that one.
I never knew you were so big into shooters, Galen.
Honestly, it's rather recent. Like, probably within the past, 4 or 5 years. Ever since Borderlands, really. Yeah, the only other complaint that I have about the game at this moment is I wish you could see your character more. Like, the entire thing takes place in the first person unless you start driving around. And they give you a couple of opportunities to see your character, like when you're cycling through the menus, or if you're looking in a mirror or something. It gives you those options, but they have emphasized so much on the style of your character and the uniqueness. Like, there's actual street cred that you can get with your character, and that changes depending on what you're wearing. So there's a lot of clothing customizations that are actually there. It's just you never get a chance to see any of them.
Yeah, that's always my problem with first-person games, and especially like Elder Scrolls has that problem really bad, where it's like, you do a ton of customization, and then you just put a helmet on, and you're in first-person mode, and you never see your face again, and that kind of thing.
Well, with like Elder Scrolls, like I would switch between third-person and first-person depending on what I was doing.
Yeah, at least there was that option, even though I didn't really care for it too much.
This one doesn't have that option all too much, so yeah. But other than that is all I really... I'm still very early on in the game, so I'm still garnering my own impressions of it. But so
far... How many hours into it are you so far?
Not many, maybe 6 or so. Okay. And most of that has seriously just been exploration. Like, plot-wise, I'm probably like maybe an hour and a half in.
Gotcha.
So, I guess that brings it around to the actual controversy part, because boy, has this game been making news, and not necessarily a good or bad way. From what I can tell, there are 3 main issues that people are bringing up about this game. One is the of being transphobic.
What's the story there? Because I'm completely ignorant on that part of the story, just because I've heard so much about the game in general, controversy, that I'm like kind of tired of it, and very little do I have to cover for work, so I only hear a little bit about it through work. Other than that, I don't have time to think about this game that I don't care about. You know what I mean?
No, that's fair.
What's the story there?
Well, there's 2 main points. One is that back in 2018, they made a tweet from the actual like Cyberpunk 2077 post, and they were talking about somebody who was saying they wanted to see more of the guys from like the development team or whatnot talking about the game. And in the tweet, they made the joke of, did you just assume their gender? And
oh, that's really lame.
It is kind of lame. And this was also back in 2018 when it was a thing that people used as a comedic punchline more than anything.
Yeah, and it was never funny. It was never even funny once.
Exactly. Once they realized that, yeah, okay, this isn't actually okay, they went ahead and apologized, but they didn't make anything more of it since then. The other one is the Mix It Up advert that they have in there.
Which is still in the game.
Oh, no, it's still in the game.
Yeah.
And for those of you who haven't seen it, basically it is a woman who is holding up an energy drink and in big words saying, mix it up, and there's the outline of a very large male genitalia on it.
Yeah. At first I didn't see it because like I was looking for like regular sized genitalia. This is like half the size of her torso. No, this is like her entire torso, half the size of her body, like that kind of thing.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's weird, and actually.
There were some tweets and outrage that was going on around there where it was basically, hey, why do you feel like you have to, over-sexualize the trans community in this way? Is this the only way you can make trans work, and blah, 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 blah. Here's my biggest complaint about that is that the entire game is over-sexualized to an extreme. And it almost does this, we're talking about like every single aspect of sexuality that is in there.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of the identity of that kind of cyberpunk culture is the extremes that corporations will kind of go to in order to market their own product. And, that boils down to the basis of, hey, sex sells, so give them lots of sex.
Yeah, I very much understand that point of view. It makes sense, The thing that I can try and empathize with, as a cisgender gay guy, is that, trans people are constantly sexualized for being trans, you know what I mean, in media and in real life, when they are just human beings, and so to have this thing that happens to be a stereotype, or you know what I mean, touching on some really sensitive subjects, just makes it in poor taste. You know what I mean? Like, for example, having a gay character, particularly a gay man or flamboyant gay man as a villain, has been such a trope where it's like that can work on its own. That can be a fine character to write in a piece of media. However, it is such a trope, and it is such a like reinforcement of that trope constantly in media that it ends up affecting the community negatively. Even just jumping over to another type of stereotype, you probably don't want to have the first black person in one of your video games or one of your movies or whatever your media might be eating some watermelon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, though it could just be a human being having a piece of watermelon, you wouldn't want to do that because there's history there. And to play ignorant to history is being completely insensitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of people that raise a lot of these, not raise the complaints, but like shoot down the complaints, the genuine criticisms or the genuine questions that people are asking about these kinds of things, are oftentimes people not affected by these stereotypes. And I would just ask those people who are not affected by it to listen to people who are affected by it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to hear from so many of my trans friends and so many of our trans listeners about this kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a tangent.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. But those are the big two controversies that are coming up with that one.
Yeah. There's more stuff going on, though. Do you got some? Because I got some in my brain already.
Well, and specifically about like the transphobia aspect of that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Because there's other ones. Like, of course, we should probably talk about the state of the last gen consoles, being the PS4 and the Xbox One, and just how poorly implemented they all are.
Yeah, they don't run well. They really don't, to the point where both Microsoft and Sony have taken them down from their digital storefronts and are fully refunding people who are asking for it.
Yeah, CD Projekt Red has also gone and been like, hey, we're refunding anybody who wants to go ahead and, you know, who's not willing to wait for our updates to come through. They have talked about
that was a really shitty statement.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, here's the first thing. The timeline of events, from what I know, is that CD Projekt Red said that, you know, they would refund people. They didn't get in touch with the vendors or, you know, the third parties, all of those parties in between on how this is going to happen. So then, you know, everybody's like, what the hell? We're supposed to give you refunds? Well, the developer said you're supposed to give you refunds. I'm your vendor. I am the person selling the product. Like, I can't give you a refund because of our policy. You know what I mean? It was just... And then after that, the response to that, then for whatever reason, you know, whether it was Sony being like, we need to bottleneck this right now or whatever, Sony then removed it from the storefront and is giving refunds. They probably got in contact with the publisher of Cyberpunk, which would be WB. And then shortly after that, Microsoft also removed it from their storefront. So that's kind of the timeline of events. And it's fascinating and novel, because I can't think of another game that this has happened to, other than, like, you know, things where they found the person was using stolen assets or something like that. You know what I mean? Things like that usually those are like shitty asset flip games or whatever that happen.
It's funny that you mentioned Warner Brothers being the publisher on this one, because I can think of one other example of this, and that was back when Arkham Knight came out.
The PS4 game.
The PS4 was fine, but it also came out for the PC, and the PC version was absolutely bugged out to hell.
Yeah,
like,
I think I remember that.
It was unplayable. It might not be Arkham Knight. It might be the Arkham Origins. I can't remember. I'll double check myself on that later.
I think it was the PS4 game. I think it was...
I think so too.
Because Origin was a last gen one that was also released on current... it's weird to say current gen. PS4.
It's weird, yeah.
But anyway, I just mean like for the PlayStation Store. You know, I can't think of another game that was really taken down that is comparable to like this situation. So that's interesting.
That is weird. Well, and also I was looking into it. They actually, if you go online, they have a CD Projekt Red investment page where you can look at, if you're an investor, you can go ahead and look at the stock earnings and the statistics and everything like that. I mean, nobody would actually go and check that out unless there was a reason to. But they also have a public conference call on there. And
yeah, I remember hearing this made news.
Yeah, and at the beginning of that conference call, they basically said, hey, listen, we didn't realize it was, the PC or the console versions were in this state. We knew, the developers told us, we just didn't listen.
That's what WB said?
Well, that is what this conference call was, and this was with the heads of CD Projekt Red. Oh. But that's what they were basically saying.
So upper management of them.
Yeah, it was in upper management just being like, hey, we have deadlines to meet, just push it out, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, and this is like definitely a shit show, and I can't say, like, I feel so sympathetic, I should say, for the developers, just earning a regular wage, not like the upper management at all, but the people that were told that they need to crunch for months and months before this damn game came out, and then it releases and it's in such a shitty state, and they're just like, I feel so terrible for them, because like they're the ones that really got screwed over in this.
Yeah, and that's actually the third controversy that I wanted to bring up in this whole thing, was the fact that CD Projekt Red did implement crunch when the game was coming out, and this is kind of the first time that they really did that we know of. In fact, the community as a whole used to hold CDPR as like the poster child of, hey, these guys are doing it the right way. So when they did start to implement these poor practices, these terrible practices, it was kind of a shock to a lot of different people.
In one way of looking at this, I'm glad that it is a shit show for the industry's sake, because I keep bringing up that example of like Dragon Age Inquisition and BioWare and stuff like that. EA doing this exact same thing with crunch and stuff like that. But then the game came out, Dragon Age Inquisition, and it was really well received. And Jason Schreier did an excellent article on that, interviewing developers, and they were sad that everything went well. It was financially successful. It was critically successful, because then that meant that in however many more years, they're just going to be doing this exact same thing again. So I'm glad that there is a shit show on this, because I can only hope that this will make the industry a little bit better. That might be me being a little too hopeful, but I don't know. It's interesting to know what's going on factually and to not shove a bunch of emotions in there like, oh, CD Projekt Red are a bunch of assholes and they're transphobic and da-da-da. It's like, how about we point out what is factual here rather than throwing in a bunch of emotion? You know what I mean? I really want to keep abreast of this whole thing. I really do.
No, absolutely. To me, this is like No Man's Sky level of just like...
But no, it's so different though, because this is interesting, because this is also just like big publisher being like, it needs to ship on this date because we need earnings for this upcoming quarter, this kind of thing, Yeah. And like, that does need to be said to some degree on any game project. That's why there is the back and forth of like creator and producer. But this game wasn't ready, on these platforms like base PS4 and Xbox. Like, I've been watching Cliff play it, and Cliff's had, by the way, I should say, Cliff's having an excellent time. He's really enjoying playing the game, and I'm very happy for him. Like, Cliff is not photosensitive to things like frame rate and visuals and stuff like that. He's just having a great time. You can have fun with this game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I will say that the game doesn't look good. This is just my opinion. I think that this is like one of the worst looking games I've seen on PS4 in terms of like art direction and execution. Everything just kind of looks like Vaseline is on the screen when you're outside. When you're indoors, it looks better because I think it's probably rendering fewer things. But when you're outdoors, it has this like, I don't know, it feels like you're looking at the sun, or your eyes are squinting or something. It makes me like kind of blink my eyes and like what I was talking about with Deadly Premonition 2.
Yeah.
On Switch, where I was like, I am fine with some frame rate drops and stuff like that, but that footage was giving me a headache. I can't play this game until they fix it enough to where it would give me a headache, or wouldn't give me a headache. I think if I played Cyberpunk on base PS4 in its current state, it's probably gonna hurt my eyes, hurt my brain, you know?
You know, it's really funny. I feel like I dodged the largest bullet in this situation because I originally had it pre-ordered for the PS4, but I thought about it, and after I got this new laptop, I kind of decided, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and get it for the PC because I can't wait to see what the modding community makes. That was literally my decision on switching consoles.
Yeah. I also should mention that, like, good thing that game autosaves quite frequently, because on base PS4, Cliff has faced so many crashes. Like, really? I've lost count. Yeah, it's 20s, 30s. It's up there. Like, multiple crashes every session. And
that's insane.
One of our reviewers at Siliconera, she's trying to write a review for the game on I can't remember which Xbox it is, whether it's last gen or current gen. Man. She's trying to, but she's genuinely having like trouble because the game is constantly crashing on that console. And she's even contacted, you know, her PR person and stuff. They're like, okay, go in and delete Mortal Kombat and then restart the system and see if that works.
Tell her to delete other games.
Yeah, like it's just it's not ready. You know what I mean? This is not a product that was ready for public consumers. You know what I mean? Like, it's bad.
I can't wait for the what happened video, because that's going to be coming around at some point.
Oh my god. Poor Matt McMuscles is working overtime. Matt McMuscles is crunching on this one to try and make a what happened.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Fallout 76 is like, whew, we're no longer do we have to wear this target on our foreheads anymore, you know?
So there was this meme that I saw, and I'll find it and I'll post it on our Discord. Actually, no, it was on our Discord that I saw it. But it was the meme of Lisa from The Simpsons riding a lawnmower, and Marge is going, "No, Lisa, no!" And then her Bart, "No!" And looks over, Bart's standing right next to her, and it's like, "Oh, sorry, the force of habit." Except put CD Projekt Red as Lisa and Todd Howard's face on Bart.
Yeah. She's like, "No, Todd, no."
No, Todd,
sorry,
no.
Force
Sorry.
of habit. Yeah, that's good. Well, considering this is the Nintendo Everything podcast, we have talked far too long about Cyberpunk 2099.
Oh, you mean it's not coming out for the Switch too?
You know what? On base PS4, it looks like a Switch game.
It looks like a PS2 game with some of the
No,
things
it doesn't. Let's be honest here. It honestly looks like a AAA game running on Switch kind of thing, where it's like, ooh, this is sub 720 and it's like got Vaseline on it, but hey, at least it's on a handheld, so if that's what you really like, then, you know. Wait
a second.
Oh, shit.
I do want to wrap this all up by just saying that I am currently enjoying my time with the game, and
cool.
Being in the best situation of being able to play it on a PC that can run it, I'm probably going to be playing this some more. But it's a shame to see what's happening with all the other consoles right now. Absolutely,
because this could probably have come out later in 2021, and it would have been
fine.
Yeah. Speaking of fine.
Yeah.
Sephiroth looking mighty fine in his Player 2 costume. So this week, there's like a 35-minute presentation with no amiibo.
Oh, so sad.
Yes.
So sad.
Very sad. Sakurai presents Sephiroth, and he showed off the character's playstyle super in-depth.
He started to talk about frames there for a little bit, and he was like, oh, wait, I have to pull back.
I just wanted to make a party game.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, whatever. We also got Mii costumes, music, Gino in Smash. Everybody can shut up about
it. Finally.
Gino, the Mii costume in Smash. I kind of loved that, because even though I would love to have Gino, a proper fighter in Smash from Super Mario RPG, I kind of love when people's hopes and dreams are shattered, and I just really enjoy that it's like, okay, listen, That conversation is done with now. It's over. You know what I mean? I love definite, finite things, and I love structure.
Hey, it just increases the chances that Waluigi will still show up. We've got like 2 or 3 more fighters. I'm just saying.
Yeah. What?
And then we can be done. Let's just be done with it.
Cliff says they should put the marshmallow that thinks he's a frog in the game instead of Gino and see what happens. Cliff is, of course, talking about Mallow. I would love
Mallow.
that. I would love that. You know what I would really love is if they were like, from Super Mario RPG, it's Toad. Just like, for no reason, just do that. Just, yeah.
Just really just twist the knife there.
Yeah. You gotta do it. Alright, so Galen, in addition, now, okay, they showed off all the moveset, and we're going to talk about that for Breath of the... Why? Sephiroth. I started with that. But something that I thought was really cool was... So Sephiroth comes out on the 22nd of December, which is 5 days after the date of the video. But the update went out on the 17th, the day of the video, and it introduced something like Sephiroth mode or something it was called.
It's like Sephiroth boss mode or something. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, you have to fight Sephiroth in a very difficult battle, and you can choose different difficulty settings, but if you choose very hard and you do beat him in that mode, you can play Sephiroth right then and there. And, you know, that's only 5 days ahead of time. It was a big presentation kind of thing, specialty, drumming up, you know, interest, people talking about it, posting on social media, so, you know, good publicity for that. It wasn't something that you had to pay for, like, get the digital deluxe version and then you can play the game 5 days or play the character 5 days early or something. You know what I mean? It wasn't that kind of gross stuff. This was genuinely just like a little thing for like extra promotion. And I thought that was fun because, you know, it's only 5 days away. I understand people being upset about it or whatever. I haven't seen too much of that. I'll get into it in a second, but what do you think? What's
I like him.
No, not his playstyle. I'm talking about the Sephiroth mode first.
Oh, the Sephiroth mode? I thought it was neat. The battle was tough. I will say that. They did do a good job, especially because they did set it up for stamina, and so much of Sephiroth's moveset is like specifically geared for stamina matches.
Oh, okay.
Well, and especially because his like side B attack of, hey, I'm just going to have a couple of like swarming dark orb balls, whatever.
Shadow
he's
Flare.
Swarming it with balls.
They're called Shadow Flare. However, I will accept the term balls.
There you go. Yeah, it was a very difficult battle, but I managed to get him.
Frankly, I'm surprised you beat it.
Well, we both know I'm not a real gamer, so
there it is.
But yeah, no, it's really cool that they did that, and especially.
Go ahead.
Yeah, especially because you're right on the point of how much could they possibly do in that 5 days to really fine tune the character. So why not just put him out now?
Yeah. So like that is completely sound logic, but the honest answer to that is that this is a mode that gets people talking, gets people playing, gets people posting on social media. It's part of the marketing thing. So from a business mind, I think that's really smart. It makes sense, and it's not like anti-consumer or something where you have to pay more money and then you can play them. Or, you know, everybody can do this. Yeah.
They've also kind of made a game out of it too, because you now have people who are like competing against each other and being like, hey, I took him down this quickly, or I used this strategy and it got him down by a whole 5 seconds. They're speed running Smash Bros.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I heard one person say, oh, wow, another mode that you pay for that... God, what did they say? Mode that you pay for that is only limited time and it's going to go away. And, you know, just basically criticizing Nintendo for that. And I'm like, it's a battle. It's a battle where you fight a hard Sephiroth. This isn't some sort of, like, thing that that you pay for and it goes right away. You know what I mean? Like, they were basically comparing this to like some of the other stuff that we really are critical excuse me, that we are critical about with, say, the Mario's 3D All-Stars collection going away after March 31st or something. Yeah. It's like, there are genuine things to criticize Nintendo about and some of their business practices. Like, if you're gonna nitpick every little thing, like something like this, and kind of make something out of nothing, you know, it's gonna lessen your criticisms where they genuinely should be heard. And I just thought that was such a dumb thing for that person to say.
And honestly, like, in my mind, I can think of absolutely no situation in which you would want to play this mode and not buy Sephiroth as a character. And considering that the entry point is buying Sephiroth as a character, it's just giving you something a little bit extra, as opposed to like locking it behind a paywall.
Yeah, and then taking it away or whatever. Like, I don't know. I thought that was like one of the most ridiculous things I ever read.
You want to set up the Sephiroth battle mode after the fact? Just do a one-on-one match with stamina against a level 9 computer. No items.
Exactly.
You got it.
Anyway, Galen, you have been playing Smash. How do you like Sephiroth?
I like him. As I kind of said before, I've noticed this trend on needing to have some sort of like special gimmick with their characters, or with their DLC characters. But every once in a while, you get that like baseline palate cleanser of he's just a really good technical fighter. And that's what we got here. He plays more like Marth more than anything. In a lot of the ways that he moves around. The fact that certain aspects of his sword do more damage, so you are more inclined on positioning yourself and being very precise with your strikes.
Yeah, they said that the middle to end of his blade is what does the most damage. There's if you break it down into 3 sections, the middle of his blade does the most, the tip does the second most, and then the like near the hilt does the least. Yeah. And I wrote an article for Silicon Era this past week about him, and I described him as a glass cannon, which I'm sure millions of other people have already. But he is a very large character, so he has a large hitbox, and he is also a lightweight character, so he can get flung across the screen and KO'd very easily. So you want to be playing keep away with him. He's got some really good projectile attacks, and his sword is very long, so you want to be at mid-range with him all the time. Yeah.
He almost reminds me a little bit of a cross between Ike and Billith in certain ways.
Why do you say that?
Well, just because each of the attacks at his disposal are like items in your toolkit, as far as if he's this far away, or if they are going to be using this kind of attack, this is the tool I want to pull out to kind of like best this situation.
I see, okay.
The classic mode, which they also introduced for him, is like a boss rush through all of the Smash Bros. Bosses. It really hammers home that point as to Sephiroth wants to be in a particular place at a particular time and do a particular thing.
Okay.
You know, fighting Dracula, fighting Ganon, and having to like sneak behind him. Rathalos. Rathalos going for the tail or trying to attack him in midair. Like, it's really teaching you the specifics of it.
That's cool. And by the way, I thought about this just a few days ago in regards to our episode last week. I can't believe we forgot the name of the big boss at the end of Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's literally named Galena.
Oh, yeah.
It's your name with an A at the end of it.
I am the final boss.
Yeah. Also, can you imagine, like, that situation where everybody's like, oh my god, there's a bunch of friggin' hands, and the Galena is up there in the sky, and Cloud's looking up at it, and then it suddenly gets split into 2, and then he's like, what? And then the dun, 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 dun music starts, and then Cloud's just like, oh, fuck this again. Just no. Like, what is it, like my 6th time?
I saw another meme where it was, I think it was from like Incredibles 2 or something, but it showed the main character who's like sitting on the couch listening to all the good news from his wife. So the main character was Final Fantasy VI fans, and the wife was Final Fantasy VII fans, and they're just going through the trailer announcement of like Sephiroth coming out, and Final Fantasy VI fans are just going, "That's great, hon. This is the greatest thing ever."
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't worry, Final Fantasy VI fans. Square Enix will ruin Final Fantasy VI for you sometime this next decade, just like they're ruining Final Fantasy VII. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Your time will come.
I just can't wait for the DDR version of Final Fantasy VI. It's going to be fantastic.
I would play that.
I know you would.
I would love that. I can imagine Terra and Realm and Celis busting a move.
Just have a dance battle with Kefka.
You'd be dancing mad. By the way, there's nothing more dead right now than DDR. It does not exist anymore, so that would not happen. No.
You're right. I'll go back to playing my Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid Pachinko machines.
Oh gosh, DDR is Konami, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. You know what they could do, though, is they could expand. Konami could expand into bidets, like high-end bidets, and bring back DDR for that.
So you're just sitting on the bidet, and when water's shooting at you, you do the DDR dance?
Yeah, I mean, you want to position your B all around. Like, honestly, I'm surprised that Konami has not combined two amazing Japanese pastimes into one. Pachinko and bidets, you know?
No, you're 100% right.
And you know what? Here's a freebie, Konami. You can call it this, Bidinko.
Oh god, no. No.
Sorry I'm late for work, Shacho-san. I was real busy with my Bidinko this morning.
Is that why you're wearing a swimsuit? Yes.
And I suppose lastly, we're getting some more songs, of course, in with the Sephiroth inclusion. It's cool that Sakurai also talked about like how music is difficult to get into games, just because, you know, people don't really know that. I mean, I hardly know it, and I consider myself more knowledgeable than the average person slightly. You just got to get rights holders from all over the world, wherever your game is going to be released officially in whatever territories, to be on the same board, and it's oftentimes messed up and owned by different people. Like, even as recently as the like PS3 generation, and even this generation to some degree, you know, one company might publish a game and hold the rights to one game in a different territory than another territory so much. Like, that happened so frequently from pre-NES all the way through like the PS3 generation. Like, go for people in like Japan or just generally Asia and like North America and stuff, go look at all of the games that Ubisoft published in like Europe and Oceania, or Oceania. I never know how to say that. Whatever, I'm screwing it up. In those territories during like, say, like the PS2 and PS3 era, you'll be like, whoa, they published this game over there? Like, just because for whatever reason they were finding it lucrative to publish so many different games. But then that already just makes it so confusing. Anyway, that's a huge old tangent. We're getting some more Final Fantasy music, which is cool. That's cool.
That's always good.
Yeah. And we're also getting Mii Fighters. I'm going to buy them as soon as they come out, even though I don't really care about Mii Fighters. But we're getting Tifa, Barrett.
Tifa and Barrett. And Chocobo Hat.
And Aerith.
Oh, yeah.
Galen.
All of your...
Galen.
All of your fanfic can finally come true through Smash Bros. Mii's.
When will you play Final Fantasy VII? It is literally on sale on the Switch right now.
As soon as I finish Final Fantasy IX for the Switch.
Okay. Asshole.
So, 2025?
That's a pretty promising date, I'll be honest.
Hey, you know, high expectations.
The real answer is never. And moving on to the Indie World Showcase.
Yeah.
This was nice. This was nice and lovely. It was actually quite wholesome in terms of the games that they showed off.
Yeah, there there were a couple of surprise ones for me there.
I'd say that this overall, though, was kind of like one of their weaker showings in terms of variety. Like, it had some good variety, you know, but there were several games that really blended into each other, which, you know, is a minor criticism. Galen, what are some of the games that you want to talk about from this showcase?
Oh, there were a few. First off, Fist of Fluffs is the weird ragdoll cat doll arena combat game I never knew I wanted to be confused by. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's got like a flat color to it, and it's like a battler of like 4 characters, and your characters are all cats, and you're fighting each other and using
and
power-ups.
They've got these weird ragdoll physics to it. I was just so confused by this in general.
I really don't like this one because it looks like all of the it feels like it looks like you are playing as paraplegic cats because all of their back legs look broken. It looks like they're dragging themselves across to fight each other.
You want to know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of a 7-year-old who's like playing with a family cat and like pretending to pick it up and like, oh, look, it's walking around as a person. That's basically what this is reminding me of right now.
That's horrifying. Also, I'll tell you a story right now. My cat does not like children.
Oh, yeah?
At all. She recognizes them as something very different to a human because she loves humans. She is very, very social, but when she sees
people are fine, children are scary.
Yeah, when she sees a kid, like probably she got not tormented, terrorized by a child or something when she was little, and it was, you know, enough to scar her because she is aggressive with other animals and children. She runs away from them but doesn't like hide or anything like that. She runs away, stands her ground, and then just hisses at them from afar. She's very, very vocal in hating children.
Really?
Yeah, she hates them. And
All
it's
right.
so funny because like our little nephew will come over and he'll be like, oh, a cat, you know, and he's very respectful, he's very smart, and he'll be like, look, there's the cat, and then like from across the room my cat's like if they were speaking the same language, you know, our nephew would be like, oh, she's so cute, and then our cat's like,
Yeah, my cat is really weird in that regard because you have the one hairless sphinx who is the most social creature I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been in this house, she will find you, she will climb up onto your chest, and she will await for butt pats.
yeah, and
because
she
that's a thing.
doesn't she isn't like particular about certain things, like if she like falls off something or if like somebody like picks her up and sets her over or something, she's fine with being a little bit manhandled.
Yeah. And then, contrary to that, you have my other cat, Constantine, who, as soon as he even hears someone walking into the house, he will hide.
Yeah,
And he will not
yeah.
come out.
Some
So,
cats just have that temperament, you know, like
Yeah.
he's like probably a less domesticated kind of cat in terms of like his lineage, you know what I mean? His genetic makeup.
Well, and he's also the one that I found in my my work parking lot. So,
Right.
Yeah. But,
So they're both in this game.
Yeah, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that kind of like
Struck out at you?
me.
Is that that
Trying to
phrase
remember
that
what
nobody else says in the entire world but you?
Tunche.
Is that how it's pronounced? I think I was
so.
watching
I think they
this-
pronounced it in the thing.
Okay, I was watching it on mute because I was working at the time.
Ah, gotcha. Amazon Raid Force inspired, you know, hand-drawn, side-scrolling beat 'em up. Action looks good. It looks fluid. It looks fun. And it was really cool to see Hat Kid make an appearance.
Yeah.
So,
I really like the hand-drawn aesthetic to it too. It's very pretty. Like you said, it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
yeah.
And,
Go
go ahead.
The character designs also really kind of struck out at me. Like, I love the guy with a little ukulele who was playing, and that was his primary like form of attack there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's always really special too to see indie developers in particular from so many territories that have been over the past decades not considered major territories to focus on with video games. So like any developer from Central America and Southern America, Africa, you know what I mean? Like we had Raji recently, and that was from some Indian developers. Like it's so great to just see more globalization, more voices in video games. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what else, Galen? What else?
Well, I've got another one to talk about, but what has been kind of like catching your eye?
Oh,
so
well,
far?
What's been striking into my eyes outwardly, yeah, that's the phrase, Galen. Cyber Shadow. I am calling it Cyber Shadow because that is its name, Cyber Shadow. I have to say it several times so I don't accidentally call it something totally different, like Cyber Ninja or Ninja Shadow.
Or Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I never ever remember this damn game's name, so I am saying it several times now. Cyber Shadow.
Ninja Shadow.
Shut up.
Cyber Gaiden 2077.
Oh, damn it. Damn it. This is by Mechanical Head Studios. It also got picked up by Yacht Club Games, and they are publishing and I think doing a little bit of like supervisor or advisory kind of role, but like the vision, everything, you know, core to this game is still being done by Mechanical Head Studios. And I think that it is primarily one guy. So this is a one-person game, you know, with like some other things being handled by, you know, Yacht Club or outsourced or something like that. So very much looking forward to this. It's similar to Ninja Gaiden in concept, I want to say, because it looks very different. It plays very, very different from NES Ninja Gaiden. It looks really, really cool. It looks super in-depth. I'm really looking forward to it. It looks a lot like The Messenger, which came out a good year and a half ago. Which
I was actually about to bring this one up because I actually got more vibes from The Messenger than I did of Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah. And The Messenger, I think, is even closer to Ninja Gaiden than Cyber Shadow is. Cyber Shadow really feels like its own thing.
Yeah.
And, so like with The Messenger, for example, just like the things that I could tell that were different in terms of level design is The Messenger had bigger open levels because that eventually became a Metroidvania. So, and you had like a cloud step technique, so you could jump and travel and hook onto things, and there was a lot of like flowing movement to The Messenger's level design. And with this game, Cyber Shadow, it's more corridor based and tighter, smaller areas, and it seems to be much more combat based as opposed to like movement based. And I'm really looking forward to it. Lots of spells, ninjutsu, all that good stuff. It looks and sounds fantastic. It's like that perfect feeling for me with like NES games where it's like it has NES aesthetics,
but it's got those modern sensibilities to them.
Yeah, modern sensibilities. It doesn't have like kind of the limitations of the NES behind it. You know what I mean? Like there's the NES couldn't do half of what this game is doing.
Plus,
and it's great.
It also gives you an excuse to break out your Shovel Knight amiibo.
Yeah, which actually they're still there, just hanging out. I always have my amiibo on display.
Yeah, same here.
Way too many of them. No, you have ones in packages in your damn closet.
I have like 2 or 3 of them just because I don't have the space for them.
That you know of. There's more in there.
No. Okay, maybe.
See? Galen, go on. What's other ones?
Well, the only other one that really surprised me was the Shadow Drop announcement of Among Us.
Still have no idea what the damn this game is.
Just gonna say, missed opportunity on Nintendo's part. Kind of disappointed.
To do...
To really make Among Us, like, part of their brand. So, yeah.
Hold on.
I've got some feelings here.
No, I don't care. What just happened is I heard the tiniest little in the background. I doubt it picked up on the mic. I look over at Cliff, and yet again, another Cyberpunk 2077 crash. I feel bad. That sucks, you know?
Yeah.
Your game crashing is shitty. It sucks.
No, it super sucks.
Anyway, what's your Fungus Among Us thing? What?
Fungus Among Us? I like that. I'm using that.
That's what they should have done, and then been like, and Toad's in the game.
Yeah, I wish so much.
And then what is Among Us about? It's about like you have to find who is the usurper. What's the word that they use?
So it is a social deduction game. Oh wow, I'm gonna redo that.
No, it's staying in.
It is a social deduction game where most of the crew members are trying to either fix the ship or find out who the imposter is.
Oh, okay, there we go. And then Toad can be in that game and be like, I know you're the imposter.
Yeah, basically. So my biggest problem with this, and the problem that I keep facing every time I want to play this game, is that it is solely reliant on communication if you really want to have fun. And a lot of it is trying to defend your argument. Hey, I was here, I wasn't over there, I was with this person, and this person can vouch for me. I think this person is super sus because they've been traveling all over on this side and all the dead bodies have been over there. Oh my god, you sounded like the oldest
human being in the world by saying super sus.
Okay, boomer.
What are you gonna say, let's go next?
Is that a thing?
I don't want to get into it.
What I continue to find is that when you are playing online with random people, and especially because this game has its origins on a mobile platform, the random people will resort to like one-word answers, or just like, hey, Red is being suspicious, or Red did it, and no other like facts to back it up or anything like that. It's just pointless, baseless accusations, which for me takes out a lot of the fun of the game. Hearing that this was coming to the Switch, I was really hoping they were going to take this opportunity to fix some of those problems. One of the big ways would be to implement some sort of voice chat feature. I mean, we've seen it with Animal Crossing and other Nintendo platforms to be able to add in that kind of option. They didn't do it here. So
I have not played an online video game in so long, I can't remember, and I know they've made some changes. Can't you just do voice chat at all? Like, can't you just like do it like regardless of what game you're playing? No?
I don't know. I actually haven't played online with the Switch in quite some time.
Well, it sounds like you're trying to make criticisms when you don't have the information to back it up.
I'm making a criticism here because this is a very common thing. The game itself has no way of implementing voice chat. It's reliant.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's reliant on you using a third-party thing like Discord or something else like that. Mm-hmm. So this could have been an opportunity to fix that issue. But instead, you're reliant on using the chat program if you don't have access to any of that voice stuff. And if you're doing that, you have to navigate at the speed. It brings up, because there's a time limit for how much time you can actually structure your argument before you pass in your votes.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get this game.
If
I know it's huge and everyone loves it and everybody's young and way younger than me and everyone's born in 2004.
Let me put it this way. If you and I were to play this with some people on our Discord, we would have a really good time.
Would we?
If you were to jump on and just play it with random people, you would not have a real good time.
Sounds like most online games then.
The other part of this missed opportunity is that one of the big ways that you can really have fun is by changing up the color of your character, but also wearing funny hats and other things like that. Didn't do anything for Nintendo specific. There's no Mario hat. There's no Toad hat. You could do like a Bowser mask or something. Like there's so many different things. You could put on a Samus helmet. They didn't do any of that. They didn't implement it. It's literally just, hey, you know that version that you can download for free on your phone? Well, now you can play it on the Switch.
It's free on your phone, huh?
It's free on the phone, but there are ads. On the Switch, the game is cheap. It's only $5.
Okay, yeah. And then there's no ads, right?
There are no ads. Correct.
Yeah, okay. I'd pay $5 to not have ads. That's good.
Yeah, and that's a reason why I bought it for the Switch, because it was so cheap. But I was really hoping that
just throw in some stupid Mario hats and stuff, right? Like at least do that. Maybe they'll do that in the future.
And they even have a section in there for pets, which from what I understand on the PC version, you can buy pets as like a microtransaction. I've never really looked into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, on the Nintendo, you could have like buy yourself a toad. So you've got a little toad that follows around your character while you're running around. Like that would be fun, but they didn't do it. Or a little bomb-bomb. That would be perfect.
Oh, I was trying to say whatever Toad says. He like doesn't say words when he makes those sounds. He just
says sounds. But no, I felt like while it's cool that this is coming out for the Switch, I've actually called out that I would love to see this on the platform in the past. I think it was a missed opportunity. They could have done a lot more to make this feel a little special.
Wow, well, you just sound like a gamer, don't you? Just complaining about everything even when you get it in your own hands.
Yeah. Remember, fake gamer.
No, actually, you sound like the truest gamer. You're a capital G gamer right now.
Brought to you by Energy Fuel.
What?
Or, sorry, G Fuel. That's what it was.
Jesus Christ, man. I don't even know what you're talking about. Do you want me to cut that out because it was so embarrassing?
No, leave it in. Why not? They're this far into the episode anyway.
And lastly, Super Nintendo World Direct, the Universal Studios Japan Nintendo World thingy.
Brought to you by Daddy Miyamoto.
Yes, he popped out of the green pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And gave you a little tour. He walked you around and showed you a little bit of the Super Mario World.
Yeah. What did you think of this?
Well, as I said a couple episodes ago, I don't like amusement parks, so I'll eventually go to this at some point. But it's just, there's so many people there, and you can't, like, stop and look and just kind of take your time and stuff. You're going to be ushered through this
really
along with a
about
whole bunch of really horrible human beings, and, like, they're going to be Nintendo fans. The worst people, let's just be honest here. And you're just going to be around all of them and sweaty, and they're gonna smell, and they're gonna push you through, these things. You can't stop and take pictures and stuff, or if you can, then everybody else is gonna be also doing that. It's just gonna be like not fun. But this would be so much fun for like a little kid, you know what I mean? Like, how magical would this be if you were like, say, 8 years old and you went with your parents? This would be an amazing, wonderful memory to have. Like, I don't remember too much of it, but like one of the times that I went, I think it was the only time I went to Disney World when I was 7, I think. It was an amazing time, and I like Disney enough, like the old Disney movies, but I'm not that huge of a fan, but like the experience was wonderful. And so I think that this will be the same thing. And even though this wasn't, particularly interesting to me, the entire time I watched this presentation, I had a smile on my face. I thought it was cute.
Yeah. Like, I'm the exact same way, and kind of going with that childhood innocence, like, I think there's something to be said about the transition between character icons on the screen to character icons right in front of you and, like, patting your head.
Yeah. Like, I wonder what it is like for Miyamoto, the person who created these characters, to
see a Mario, like...
Yeah. I mean, he's been working...
I'm sure he's done it before, but...
Yeah, but I mean, this is the biggest thing that Nintendo has really done. They have never had an amusement park,
Yeah,
so it's really cool. There were some really creative things, like when you walk into the place. Okay, we got to set this up. If you haven't watched the video, Miyamoto pops out of a green pipe. He walks through a long green pipe that's like an entranceway. Yeah. And it's like a warp pipe, so it makes like the pew, pew, pew sounds. And it has all these really pretty colors and stuff like that, and it's kind of like 1-2 of Super Mario Bros., which is the underground world.
Well, and even before that, it pops into like the lobby of Peach's Castle from
Mario
Mario 64.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah,
you go into like a remade lobby of 64, and there's the Bob-omb painting right there, and it's playing the Super Mario 64 theme. And it's cute, it's real cute. I would, if I had like a child, I would really love to take them to something like this, just to, give them like a little bit of a fantasy world that you're suddenly in. And there's plenty of other things to do that you can do this for, but if you're even a Nintendo fan in passing, this is cool.
Yeah. Well, and it going forward a little bit, it was around this time that they introduced like some of the things that you can actually do in the park. What do you think of the concept of what do they call it, a power band or something like that?
Yeah, I forgot what it's called, but it's basically like a wristband that you wear, and it's actually like got some technology in it. It functions like an amiibo, Miyamoto said. So
another thing for my collection. God damn it.
Yeah, okay, you weirdo. Weirdo.
I know.
It's basically you choose between like Mario, Luigi, Toad, Yoshi, Bowser, and I can't remember who else was there. I think Daisy.
Peach was one of them.
Peach and Daisy, I think, were one of them.
I think so, yeah.
And anyway, it's a wristband. It functions like an amiibo. It has NFC stuff to it, so in certain areas of the park, you collect coins, and you can hit the power-up blocks and get coins and items and stuff. There's like an app on your phone that it syncs to, so that way you can get in line for certain things and collect coins throughout the stage, or the amusement park, which is basically a bunch of worlds. And that's really cute. You know, like, what's cool about that is that functions really well for kids who are a little bit older, so like, you know, 8 to 10 years old, you know, they'll be doing stuff like that. But then for a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, they're just looking at all this cool stuff, you know. So it's smart. They've done things like that. And even like for people like us, if we were to go, it'd be kind of cool to play on your phone and like be like, okay, I'll collect this here and collect that there. Like, that's fun. Nice little fun stuff.
They really kind of like emphasize the aspect that there's a lot of hidden ways for you to be able to get these coins, and anybody who is a fan of the series, you know, instinctively going up and punching a block or something like that, or I thought that was a very nice touch. Yeah
Interactivity is always nice, using a little bit of technology, I suppose. So I wonder how it's gonna work for like pricing, because like already walking into USJ, you know, you have to pay a hefty fee to get in, and then I think that you pay separately for certain bigger events, so I wonder if it's gonna cost to get into this or something.
Oh, probably.
I don't know, because I don't care, you know what I mean? So
I just know that I'm going to spend literally every dollar I have in that Toad food court, because that's
the next thing I wanted to bring up. Yeah. I was so excited about that you know, the cafe is the Toad Cafe, and when you walk in, you can see all of the, like, there's a screen, and they pretend that it's like you're looking into the kitchen where all the Toads are preparing stuff, and they're walking around and preparing the food, stuff like that. By the way, Toads, the worst sous chefs in the world. They've got these big gigantic heads, tiny little stubby bodies and stubby arms. They can't do shit in a kitchen, you know? But I am so excited to see what's there. The food's going to be overpriced and mediocre like all amusement park food is, but it'll be a novelty and worth seeing once.
It reminds me when you and I went to the Final Fantasy Cafe in Japan.
Like, yeah. Tell people about that a little. Tell them what it's like.
We stopped by the Final Fantasy Cafe in Tokyo, and I can't remember what food we got, but there were like slimes that were involved, and I can't remember if we got some sort of like chocobo related thing. I have pictures on my Instagram. I can post them at some point.
Yeah, you should share them to our Discord, which I forgot to mention. But Discord link in the description of all of our episodes. Come join. A lot of fun. Everybody hanging out, making friends. It's super chill.
Yeah. No, but I got the exact same kind of vibes from this. Like, this is more of a Mario Cafe more than anything else. Or I guess Toad Cafe, as it's actually called.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait. It was really cute. Like, when you walk in, the Toad chef is, you know, greeting you and being like, oh, look at our menu, and whatever the hell else they were saying.
I love how Miyamoto's timing with like the mock conversation with Toad was just so off, and he like couldn't get on point. Yeah,
it was one of two things. It was either an elderly man not knowing how to interact with the interaction of something on a screen, or it was a very busy businessman being like, I need to go. Yes, we're about to go into the thing. Okay, come on, Chef Toad. What is happening? You know, we gotta trim the fat here. I already mentioned that, you know?
Man, just this overall thing, and even like the corny writing just like gave me these like heartwarming, like endearing feelings the entire time. Like, this just made me smile.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to some of the food too, because like, when you go to those kinds of themed cafes in Japan, the food isn't the novelty, and it's the presentation. Sometimes it tastes good,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just mediocre, but it's just about like the fun of ordering this and like seeing, 4 little biscuits, like biscuit cookies, wrapped around a bunch of cream in the middle, and those little biscuit cookies are shaped in the form of a question mark.
Yeah,
and
like a power block.
yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah, no, I love the Mario burger with the bun shaped like his hat. Like
That slice of bacon that was on that Mario burger looked real good.
oh yeah.
Yeah. And Japan does a pretty decent job in terms of like the food that you order looks like the food that you ordered, as opposed to like, McDonald's in America where you're like, oh yeah, I'll have that filet of fish sandwich that's up there. And then you get it and it's like, this came out of somebody's back pocket and they've been sitting down for a long time.
Yeah. No, overall this presentation looked pretty good. I loved the little aspects that they did show. What the hell is that?
One of your amiibo fell out of your closet because it's packed to the brim.
Hold on 2 seconds.
Okay. In the meantime, I will tell the audience that I am so excited to go to the cafe so I can annoy everybody in my Toad voice.
My cat was locked in the laundry room.
Oh.
Oh, man. All right.
I was just telling the audience that I'm excited because I get to annoy everybody when I go there in my Toad voice.
Oh, God, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to ask you to translate everything, and I want you to explain it to me in your Toad voice.
Sure.
I'll get you a hat. I will buy you a Toad hat from the
I'm so
store.
excited. I'm so excited to get a Toad hat. Yeah.
Translator's note, Kinopio means toad in Japanese.
I was a little worried about this because, like, from the looks of it, it looked, it was fancy, but you're just kind of walking through, and then they've got the VR ride, and that was all to it. It's really nice to know that there's a lot more interactivity in what Nintendo is putting forward here.
They also said that this is just a slice of the activities there.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't even expecting the slice that they showed, so it was very refreshing to see that.
It's a refreshing slice, some may say. Boy, say that 10 times fast.
Refreshing slice. 10 times fast.
Refreshing slice.
You'll loop that in post, right?
No. That's too much work. I'm busy. I'm a businessman.
Come on, Toad, trim the fat.
Yeah.
Come on. He's a businessman. What kind ain't none of your business, man?
Oh man, Toad Rap is great.
There you go.
I totally forgot what I was going to say now. Damn it. Okay, whatever.
I am glad to see that they are going to be expanding the southern markets. So if you can't make it out to Japan, wait a couple years. You're going to see them in California, Florida, Singapore.
Yeah.
So
it was nice too for them to address that, very blatantly. So that was good. Still, this park is opening up in February, and it's like, listen, I know y'all love money, okay, capitalist world, but it isn't safe to open this up if people don't have vaccines,
Yeah.
But that's a story for another time.
Womp, 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 womp.
Why would you do that?
I should have done the Mario one.
Yeah,
huh?
you
Alright, next.
You okay there?
Additionally, let's see.
I think you just exploded.
Go on, what are you giving to the people?
Oh, this week I've got kind of a new oldie goodie. Do you remember those old...
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Do you remember the old internet memes of, like, the stick fighters that were fighting each other?
That's not that old, but yeah.
Well, it's like
It's
we were in high
pre-YouTube.
school. Yeah. Yeah, apparently the animator is still doing that and just really honing his craft.
Quick explanation for people who have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, so this particular animator does a series called Animator versus Animation, and it's literally this little stick figure that he makes, and he fights with him on the screen, and the appeal to it is just the ingenuity, how fluid everything is. It's really kind of a spectacle.
Yeah. If you like kung fu movies and like, fighting action, things like that, you'll like it.
Exactly. Apparently he's been continuing on with this series.
That's amazing.
He just came out with a new one this month, and I watched it. It's like half an hour long, which from an animation standpoint is intense. But no, it was really cool to watch. Highly recommend it. It brought back some really good nostalgic feels. So
nice. But just say feelings, bro.
Okay. Feelings. Tell us about your feelings.
Anyway, my lovely Dutch boy Thor High Heels put out yet another excellent video. This one's on Japan only PlayStation 2 games. Lots of excellent games that never went westward during that generation, and this highlights 4 or 5 of them. And if you pay attention through the whole video, you might even see a little bit of a cameo from yours truly.
Yeah, he does call out a particular desperate weirdo. So.
Desperate weirdo, fake games journo, liar, embarrassment. Who could it be? Galen, obviously.
Obviously. I'm known for my desperate journalism.
But anyway, he goes into, like a really good detail of like introducing you what they are. And as I've said before, like I really hope that people would check out Thor's videos just because his editing and his like the audio visual presentation of his videos is so unique. He's doing like such a unique thing for YouTubers, and it doesn't feel like a YouTube type of video. I can't stand the YouTube type of video, and this is so not what that is. So I really just enjoy it. He's great.
Click the subscribe button and click that bell.
Be sure to smash that apple.
Brought to you by G Fuel.
Oh, sorry, that was PornTube. And now we're on to the email. We got an email.
Female?
Yeah. The Nintendo everythingpod@gmail.com.
Yep. Remember to contact your local desperate and embarrassing weirdos at nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
However, we also have another way that you can get in contact with us. Give us a conversation topic, ask us questions, get us into a fight together by going to our Discord in lieu of an email. Emails are hard, They're heavy. Shit in them is dumb.
You have to put a subject title.
You go to our Discord, which is linked in our description of this episode and every other episode recently.
Remember, /, not backslashes.
Yep. Whatever. And then we have a channel there that says questions, and specifically for questions, and then you can write them out. So, what did lovely Jay write to us, Galen?
So, Jay writes in, "Hey guys, it's Jay. This time with a topic of discussion. I've been thinking about how Nintendo can be competitive with the new generation of consoles, and I think it somewhat lies in cloud gaming. I recently tried out Stadia, as well as the cloud version of Control on Switch, and was overall pretty impressed. It's certainly not perfect, and for a portable console being reliant on the internet, it's not ideal. However, I think selling dual versions of a game could be a good solution, similar to how you can buy a Blu-ray movies with a digital copy included. Also, on a separate topic, if a Switch Pro comes out, any games that can run only on the Switch Pro could have cloud versions for people that still have the original Switch. This could significantly avoid alienating an entire user base like the new 3DS did for handheld games that could only run on the new. What are your thoughts on this? And what are some problems or hurdles to this kind of a solution? Stay awesome, you delightful weirdos."
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much, Jay. And for the record, I did paraphrase a little bit, but I feel like I still got the spirit of the email out. So, it is also really interesting to hear that you had a good experience with the cloud version of Control on the Switch, because I had the literal opposite. So
yeah, I still haven't played it yet, but of course I'm going to play that, like, docked with a wired connection.
yeah,
Though that does ultimately sort of defeat the whole thing of, like, it's a portable console, right?
exactly.
So it's weird there. It's muddled. But
Oni, what do you think about this?
yeah, this is looking at it from a totally different perspective than I've ever looked at this. I can't imagine, like, say a developer has to develop two slightly different versions of a game. So, like, they used an example about, like, Assassin's Creed Valhalla and then having a slightly dumbed down version also. And it's like, I don't know, I just can't. I have to imagine to make something like that successful, it has to be simple, stupid, and not costly for developers in order to bring that over. It needs to make financial sense is the ultimate point here. It just needs to make financial sense. So, gosh, because I know so little about cloud gaming, right? If the current Switch is good for cloud gaming and doesn't need any, like, internals or something to it, like a new piece of hardware to be very effective at cloud gaming, then yeah, Nintendo working out a deal where they pay the server costs or whatever to get people to come over to make cloud ports for their games, because I can't imagine, I have no idea, but it's probably expensive to pay for the server farms to run cloud games.
Well, and not only that, you really need to focus on the limitations of Wi-Fi technology as a whole. And this is regardless of what country that you're actually in. You're limited to the actual Wi-Fi capabilities of the handset itself. Is it going off of the I can't remember the actual, like, band waves that they go off of, but there's I think it's a 5.0 gigahertz band that is the new Wi-Fi standard right now. And the actual performance power is one thing, but if the system can't receive the data fast enough and also send that information quick enough for it to be responsive and drop down that lag time, I mean, that's going to be the big hurdle to get over before this can even be considered.
I see. And yeah, it's also really going to depend on what kind of game it is, right? Because for cloud gaming, if you need really fast reflexes, like, say, Anthem or... Not Anthem, Apex Legends. Nobody needs anything for Anthem, okay? Nobody needs anything for that. But if it's like Anthem a menu-based game, then it's going to be fine, you know? The point here that he brings up about, like, what about dual copies, like they did with Blu-ray movies having a DVD also included. So he's saying, like, your purchase of an actual game could come with a dumbed down version that is a cloud version to if you have a good internet. I would be interested in something like that, but I don't think that the publishers want to do anything like that, because that would only potentially grow the aftermarket, the secondhand market, and the publishers and the industry has been wanting to kill the secondhand market for years. That's why they really love the idea of pushing digital only consoles, because that immediately eliminates the aftermarket for them. It's you have to think about this in two minds. Like, what would you actually like as a person, as a video game consumer? I don't like the word consumer, but I really don't like the word gamer, so I don't know what word to use there. But then you also have to think about it business mind wise too.
No, it's true. I do kind of like the idea of, like, the two copies in the same game. However, I question how that would be brought about in a technical aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
What can you bundle together to make it work for one console that would not also work for the second console as well? Because there are going to be things like texture files and music sizes and other things like that you can have a higher quality on one version for, but it just comes down to, like, the raw calculation and horsepower of the system
Yeah.
Putting all that stuff together.
I think it's really cool that we are seeing publishers put out cloud versions, especially on the Switch, because, I mean, that's legitimately like the worst version of the game that you could play, because it's technically portable as long as your internet's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that we see publishers wanting to do that, because they see that the Switch is you know, huge install base, worth it at least for the next couple of years, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a weird time because we haven't really had this kind of experience in modern gaming where we have a console as successful as the Switch in a mid-generational point. So the Switch is still going to be around for, you know, several more years while the other consoles are building up their install base.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, financially, companies are going to want to put out their game on a place where it has statistically been making a lot of money, the Switch, you know? They can't turn away money. And cloud gaming is such an interesting and untapped market. Like, I feel like it is a medium that we don't know how to utilize effectively yet. So I am totally for all of these companies making different versions.
I honestly wonder if the technology is there on a consumeristic level to be able to get the kind of results that we want from them to make it a viable option.
Yeah, I'm wondering if more like the next Switch, you know, because I think that unlike the Wii, I think that a genuine Switch successor would be successful for their next generation if they really focus on cloud gaming for that option. You know, I don't want my console to be a cloud gaming experience only, but a cloud gaming option. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, and if you do that, then you've got to go over that first hurdle of how do you make a stable internet connection reliable no matter where you're playing it. And
that's something that's completely out of their control. That is not...
No, that's true. But you could also set it up for the best possibility and throw in like your 5G internet connectivity.
But Nintendo wants to keep their costs down. That's going to boost the cost right up, and that goes against the way that Nintendo releases their consoles.
Mm-hmm.
I hate my chair. It makes so many noises.
my cat is going crazy and running all over the place right now. So sorry if she's making a lot of noise.
No, I didn't hear her at all. So ultimately, I would like this dual version that Jay talks about, but I just can't see it actually happening, you know?
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet. I think there are better options to kind of go off of. But I like that train of thought. I think there's something there. I just don't think it can be implemented in such a simplistic, you know, get copy A or copy B version.
But also, as Jay says at the very end of his email here, like, the important thing is to make sure that, like, your new hardware doesn't have, like, only a handful of games that can run on it. That's why, like, a mid-generation upgrade is very tricky, you know? You can't... Because a mid-generation upgrade or an add-on onto hardware is always going to have a smaller install base than just a brand new generation. So you don't want it to be like, here's an add-on and then only a fraction of the user base can even play the game, because then why would people make something that can only be accessed by such a fraction of people? Like that's just like the Wii U
with
problem.
the new 3DS.
Yeah, new 3DS. That's what really killed Sega, generations ago in terms of being a hardware competitor.
I remember the Sega Towers.
So thank you very much, Jay, you weirdo.
Thanks a lot, Jay. You are one of our favorite weirdos.
Speak for yourself.
Who is your favorite weirdo?
Me.
I'm tired.
So what's coming up? What's coming out? NintendoEverything.com. Lots of stuff. Check it out. Check it out. Lots of good stuff there. 24-hour news, breaking news, nonstop. Stay up to date. Go to our Twitter at NinEverything. And also our YouTube, youtube.com/NinEverything. I run out of breath at the end here. Don't make that face at me. You can give me breath or the kiss of life on my Twitter at Oni_Dino. I don't know what I'm saying. Galen, What's your
You
Twitter?
can give me the kiss of death on Twitter at Mobius087 because I
Death
like
Becomes Him.
Yeah. Still haven't seen that movie.
Death Becomes Her is such a good movie. Such a good movie.
That's one with Bruce Willis, right?
Bruce Willis, yeah.
Bruce Willis.
In one
okay.
of his honestly best performances.
Not bad.
God, have you seen him in any movies now? He's got the Harrison Ford problem where he's just like
I'm just
sleepy.
here for the paycheck.
Yeah, sleepy and I don't know why too, because both of those actors, neither of them need to work, you know?
No.
So what the hell are they doing in movies if they're just showing up like that?
You know, I hear that Harrison Ford's going to be in the next Indiana Jones movie. I have no idea why.
Why are they making another Indiana Jones movie?
I don't know. I thought it got abducted in the last one. Speaking of Bruce Willis, what are you doing for Christmas this year?
What? Oh, don't even with that. I hate when people are like, guess what? Rib, elbow. Did you know that Die Hard is the Christmas movie? Like, yes. Everybody keeps repeating that on the internet. We know. You're not clever. What? Gremlins? Yeah, Gremlins is also, yeah. But I mean, it's just like, it's people being like, it's exactly the same people that are, when they're talking about the book It, okay? They're the same people who are like, did you know, okay, rib, that there's an underage gangbang in that book? And it's like, yes, we all know, like, you're not in the know, blah, blah, blah.
Honestly, I was just using it for the segue to see what you were doing. I wasn't trying to make a comment on it.
Sorry. I just...
You have very strong Die Hard opinions.
No, I have deep-rooted indignation, and sometimes it just erupts over the stupidest stuff. Maybe I was the true gamer all along.
You're the true Grinch all along.
And Oni Dino's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Capital G Grinch.
Oh. Hey, we should have mentioned this at the beginning of the episode, but stay tuned next week because we're going to do our Oni Dino Galen 2020 Game Awards show, just like we did last year.
Yeah,
doing it this year.
I've already put in my submissions.
Nice. I have not.
Yes, I noticed. I tried not to take all the
Starting
good
it
ones.
off already, aren't you, with the little fighting?
I gotta warm up.
It's going to be a fight to the death.
As it always is. And we both leave completely disappointed.
Yep. So stay tuned for that. That sounds fun. Next week on Nintendo everything. How am I forgetting the ending?
How? Over 100 episodes.
I know. For everything Nintendo.
Stay tuned to Nintendo Everything. There you go.
Bye-bye.
Later, everyone.